Humans are always curious, not just about the world around them, but about themselves. Every action we take, even something as small as picking up a cup of tea or saying a kind word, comes from a mix of thoughts, feelings, and past experiences. Our behavior is shaped by many forces, some we notice and some we do not. At first glance, what we do might seem simple or automatic. We follow routines, react to situations, and interact with others in ways that feel natural. But underneath, there are complex patterns guiding these actions. You can think of the brain like an orchestra, with each neuron acting as a musical instrument. Every thought, feeling, or action is like a note in a quiet symphony happening inside us. One calm way to understand behavior is to look at it as a collection of stories. These stories show how evolution, social life, personal history, and the subconscious influence our choices. Each person's actions are shaped by millions of years of evolution, countless experiences, and unique personality traits. Observing behavior carefully is like watching a river. The surface may seem calm, but there are hidden currents shaping the flow beneath. The brain plays a big role in this process. It has billions of neurons that send messages to each other using electrical and chemical signals. Parts of the brain, like the amygdala, hippocampus, and prefrontal cortex, help control emotion, memory, planning, and decision-making. Together, these regions balance instinct and thought, emotion and reason. Hormones also influence what we do. Cortisol, released during stress, can push us to protect ourselves or avoid danger. Dopamine, sometimes called the pleasure chemical, motivates us toward things we enjoy and strengthens habits. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, helps us connect and trust others. All of these signals mix together to create patterns in our behavior. Our actions are shaped by both nature and experience. Evolution gives us instincts for survival, like fight or flight responses, and the desire to connect with others. Life experiences, family, culture, and personal history shape how we see the world and how we act in it. These forces combine to guide our choices, sometimes consciously, and sometimes without us realizing. Even simple acts, like holding a door open for someone, are influenced by multiple factors. Empathy, social norms, past experiences, and even evolutionary tendencies all play a role. Every choice we make is guided by these overlapping influences. Behavior can also change, depending on context. A person might be quiet at home but outgoing in a social setting. The brain adapts to the environment, learning from feedback and adjusting behavior, a process called neuroplasticity. This flexibility helps us navigate social and physical environments smoothly. Observing human behavior reveals patterns that are both shared and unique. Everyone seeks connection, safety, and meaning, but each person experiences life differently, shaped by their individual history and personality. Understanding why people do what they do helps us appreciate the quiet intelligence of the mind and the subtle ways it guides our actions. In the following sections, we will explore the brain, evolution, emotions, motivation, social influence, memory, personality, stress, culture, and self-reflection. Each part will be told in a calm, gentle voice, so you can relax and absorb the stories, perhaps even letting your mind drift as you listen. Next, we will look at how the brain works and how its structures and chemicals shape what we do every day. This journey will be calm, detailed, and easy to follow, giving a clear view of the quiet forces behind our actions. The brain is the control center of all our actions, thoughts, and feelings. Even when we are not thinking about it, the brain is quietly making decisions and guiding behavior. It is a remarkable organ, weighing just about 3 pounds, yet containing roughly 86 billion neurons. These neurons communicate with each other through tiny electrical and chemical signals, forming networks that shape everything we do. Different parts of the brain have different roles in behavior. The prefrontal cortex, at the front of the brain, is responsible for planning, reasoning, and making decisions. It is where we weigh choices, think about consequences, and reflect on what is right or wrong. This part of the brain helps us resist impulses and make thoughtful decisions rather than acting purely on instinct. The limbic system sits deeper inside the brain and is closely linked to emotion and motivation. Within this system, the amygdala helps us process fear and threat, while the hippocampus is essential for forming and storing memories. These regions work together, creating a balance between emotion and memory, instinct and reasoning. When you feel nervous before giving a presentation or excited about seeing a friend, these parts of the brain are hard at work. Chemical messengers called neurotransmitters also influence our behavior. Dopamine is released when we experience something rewarding or pleasurable, reinforcing habits and motivating us to repeat enjoyable activities. Serotonin helps regulate mood, sleep, and appetite, subtly influencing how we feel and act. Cortisol, often released in stressful situations, can increase alertness and prepare the body to respond. But too much can affect mood and decision-making. Even these tiny chemical signals have a big impact on the choices we make each day. The brain's amazing adaptability, called neuroplasticity, allows it to change in response to experience. Every time we learn something new, practice a skill, or form a habit, neural pathways are strengthened or adjusted. This explains why behavior can evolve over time. We are not fixed beings, but constantly learning and adjusting based on experiences and environments. Understanding the brain helps us see that human behavior is rarely random. Every thought, emotion, and action has a basis in neural activity and chemical processes. Even simple daily actions, like choosing what to eat, are influenced by complex signals in the brain. By learning about these processes, we gain a calm appreciation for the subtle, invisible forces that guide us, and can begin to see ourselves and others with more patience and understanding. Our behaviors are not only shaped by the brain and experience, but also by evolution. For millions of years, humans and our ancestors adapted to survive in changing environments. Evolutionary psychology studies how these adaptations influence our thoughts and actions today. Many of the patterns we see in behavior have deep roots in survival. Consider the fight or flight response. When faced with danger, the brain signals the body to act quickly, either to confront a threat or escape from it. This response is automatic, triggered by the amygdala and the release of hormones like adrenaline. Even in modern life, when danger is rarely life-threatening, our bodies still react with this ancient pattern. Feeling anxious before a job interview or stressed in traffic is a reflection of this instinctive response, a gentle reminder of our evolutionary past. Humans also have instincts related to social connection. Cooperation and empathy were essential for survival in small groups. Early humans who worked together were more likely to find food, protect each other, and thrive. Today, these instincts show up in everyday acts, helping a friend, sharing with a coworker, or comforting someone in distress. Evolution has wired us to value the relationships, trust, and community. Even behaviors that seem modern, like seeking novelty or pleasure, have evolutionary roots. Curiosity motivates exploration, learning, and problem-solving, all of which improve chances of survival. Enjoying food, music, or aesthetic beauty also triggers brain rewards, guiding behaviors that historically encouraged health, bonding, and creativity. Yet, not all instincts are obvious. Subtle patterns, like avoiding risk, seeking status, or forming alliances, reflect deep evolutionary pressures. Sometimes we act without thinking, guided by these ingrained tendencies. Recognizing these instincts calmly helps us understand why we might react emotionally, socially, or even irrationally at times. By combining evolutionary psychology with brain science, we can see human behavior as a gentle story of adaptation. Each choice, impulse, or preference is shaped by thousands of years of trial, error, and survival. When we notice our own reactions or those of others, it is often a glimpse into the quiet intelligence of evolution, working through the body and mind. Understanding instincts can be calming. We begin to see that our behaviors, even when confusing or frustrating, are not random mistakes, but part of a natural pattern. With patience and awareness, we can observe these instincts, reflect on them, and gently guide our actions in ways that support well-being and connection. Humans are social creatures. From the earliest days of our species, survival depended not only on individual skill, but also on cooperation and connection with others. Social influence is the quiet force that shapes much of what we do, often without us noticing. It explains why people follow rules, adopt habits, or behave in ways that match the group around them. One way social influence appears is through conformity. Conformity is the tendency to adjust our behavior, beliefs, or attitudes to match those of others. Sometimes this helps us fit into a group or avoid conflict. Imagine walking into a room where everyone is sitting quietly. Even if you wanted to speak, you might stay silent to match the environment. This subtle adjustment is an example of how social influence guides behavior.